Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Wildcast. I am your host, Jason, for the Master Coach series of podcasts. Today, we're joined by Liliana, who is a self-love specialist, mainly around people who are dealing with maybe some traumatic events. Maybe it's a relationship breakdown. Maybe there's something going on there, and people have lost their way to kind of seeing themselves and who they are in terms of loving themselves again. So, Liliana, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Hi, it's great to be here.
Glad to have you here. So to get things started, I always love to know, how did you come to that niche or that sort of area of coaching? What was the journey there?
Yeah, so the journey there was pretty much through my own, personal development journey. I realized that I absolutely love my life, but I had some patterns, or should I say, limiting beliefs that were sort of keeping me stuck when it came to specific situations. And the hardest part was actually working to find that awareness of what those patterns were, because we're stuck in this cycle where sometimes we don't understand what that cycle looks like. So I guess going through my own healing journey and getting a coach myself showed me the potential, and I guess how valuable working with clients and transforming their lives would be. So came to that niche of self-love because I realized everybody needs to work on themselves. We can't pour from an empty cup. So the more that you work on yourselves, the better every other area in your life becomes.
Right, awesome. So what was that recognition point for you in that? When did you realize you were sort of going through a cycle, so to speak?
Yeah, so I was, I guess, at that point where I could see similar events trickle in my life where I wasn't understanding sort of the root cause, but these events were quite familiar to me. So it was until then where I realized something had to change, and I wasn't sure. I kept trying to change the external world and thinking it was always them or people or I guess other things other than myself. And it was only when I recognized, wow, okay, I keep trying to change other people or other things in my life. I haven't actually tried to change myself. So when I began to change myself, that was when I realized that, we're all perfect people. We're born perfect human beings, but we're taught these behaviors or patterns that we form throughout our adulthood, that we learn in childhood. So that's when I realized, wow, I needed to change myself. And if I didn't change myself, nothing around me would change.
Right, so you're looking out and you're saying, hang on, there's a common denominator to all of these things that are happening, and it's me.
Yeah, bingo. The light bulb switch turned on and I realized it was actually me.
Right, right. So now there's a lot of people obviously who haven't had that light bulb moment yet, and a lot of clients who haven't had that light bulb moment yet, realizing, hang on, I'm the common denominator here, and they're still in that mode of, blame or not taking, I guess, the ownership of their role in their situation. So how can you recognize those clients that are sort of close to the light bulb moment but not quite there yet? What are some of the things that kind of lead up to that moment?
Mm. Well, I guess it comes down to people that are wanting to change something in their lives, but they're just not quite sure what that is. So they're sort of stuck where part of them wants to have or live or be or do in a specific way, in terms of their mindset or in their life. But then another part of them just can't quite pinpoint what that is. So I guess those are the clients that are ready for change, but they just need that extra little step to really evaluate where they currently are at right
Right.
now.
Right. So they're kind of recognizing, hey, something needs to shift. It might be me, it might be something else. Maybe I need to do something different. Maybe I need to hang around different people, right? It's
Mm,
still a little bit external, but it's not, they're recognizing that something's got to give, but they haven't had the oh shit moment of, wait, it's all me. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, and it's hard. It's hard to realize that it's all you, but
Mm.
it gets to that point where, you get to that point where you've tried everything else, or you feel like you've tried everything, and you suddenly feel attacked, or you feel like, oh, you feel triggered when somebody or something sparks, and you feel like, man, it might be me.
Right, right. And I guess, how do you take a client who's in that position or they've hit that light bulb moment, and how do you, as a coach, move them to a place of self-love?
Mm,
Because
great
there's a
question.
big gap sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I guess I specialize in guiding ambitious individuals. So people that are ready to change. You can't change someone unless they're ready to. So specialize in guiding them to identify their fears. So identify, okay, cool, what is actually keeping me stuck? Why have I not been able to live the life that I've always wanted to live, or do certain things in different areas of my lives? So the first step is that awareness and identification of what it is that's holding them back. And then I take them through releasing that self sabotage that they don't actually realize that they're doing it to themselves. And we go through a lot of transformation stages with some NLP tools, as well as creating that next level confidence by using their mindset as a tool to sort of manifest whatever they desire they can have, as long as they change from within. So I guide them through a series of coaching calls and sessions with a bit of homework, um, which if they want to change, again, it's all to do with them. So if they
Mm.
want to change, they'll really flow with how we, yeah, do the coaching sessions and the inner work, make it fun.
Yeah. So what's that? When do you see that, I guess, tipping point where they start to realize, hang on, like I'm almost like that I'm worthy moment? Like when do you find that tipping point for yourself? Is it for majority of clients, is it like a couple calls in, two, three? Like when do you find that tipping point for clients?
Mm. Well, I guess it's at the start when we sort of identify what's holding them back. They realize that a lot of the things are actually internal factors and not actually external factors. So that it's more about the internal dialogue and the talk to what it is that's holding them back. They realize, man, it's me. Like I'm the one that's been holding myself back. I actually am worthy of these things. But then it's not until the transformation stages where they actually start to release things that they start really realizing and validating their worth. So they understand it at the beginning, but
Hmm.
that strengthens over the course of coaching.
Right, right. And then what is the, I guess, what does the end of the process look like for like once they've, sort of finished work? Yeah, hey, I love myself for it, right? Now what? What's next? What are some of the things that you that I guess you encourage them to do to, because I know that's what a lot of coaches wonder is, what about if I stop working with the client, then what? What do we sort of like, how do we sort of best equip them to go out into the big wide world and keep up their convictions? What are some of the things that you try to help sort of keep in place for those people that have gone through that journey?
Yeah, so I love to set my clients up for success. I work with them one-on-one throughout my coaching, and after we've finished our coaching together, I also ensure that they continue to hold those resources and incorporate them into their daily routines. Coaching with me isn't just a cool, I'm going to get a coach now, and without my coach, I can't succeed. So I need to have this coach for life. It's more so of a transformation journey on different stages of your life, where when you coach with me, to get that, I guess, self-love and bring it out of you because it's already within you. And once you finish coaching with me, you've got the tools that I've taught you and that we've worked together to uncover, and you've got what you truly desire and what you truly want in your life. So that momentum, that determination of, cool, this is what I want to be feeling all the time in my life. So why would I trickle back to step one to how it was feeling before coaching, when now I've got these amazing resources, I can continue that on with my life.
Right. So it's less about obviously doing the change for them, as we know, and then it's about empowering them and giving them the tools available so they can go back and sort of revisit and say, okay, what do we do when we're feeling this way? All right, we've got these routines, we've got these consistent habits that will allow us to fortify that level of self-love so that we continue to grow.
Yeah, exactly. Because the more you tell somebody to do something, the more they might question it or it might not stick. But as you get them to actually tell you what they want to do and you coach them through, as you do as a coach, they are the ones that are, I guess, leading the way, and they're the ones that are creating that life that they're wanting to live. So it's more powerful that way.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. So, I guess from a slightly different perspective, what do you feel has been? I know we touched on it a little bit, but what do you feel causes a lot of people to get to the point where they lack or they lose that initial, love that we have for ourselves? Obviously, there's, we can talk about childhood trauma and all the stuff that happens to us as kids, but what would you say are some of the big things that you've noticed, the big consistent themes that tend to chip away at people's level of self-love that they're born with, and then they just kind of seem to slowly lose over time?
Yeah, I guess it's just the way that, events in their lives, the people that they're around, potentially their daily habits, that's all a part of that self-love, you know. A lot of people tend to do a lot of, I guess, keep themselves busy, and they forget more about what's internal than what it is externally. So, um, I guess a common factor that I've found is they get so caught up in living life and reaching all these amazing goals and, trying to achieve this and that, they actually forget about the core, which is themselves. In order to achieve these goals, you need to continue to level up with your life, and you need to continue to reach that next goal or that next level. You need to reach that goal with, yourself as well. So people get lost in, I guess, um, other external factors of people telling them they should do things this way, and this picture perfect world in somebody else's life, or the comparison trap where they feel another individual is doing less or more than them, so then they validate that from external factors rather than from within and just validating themselves.
Mm. So they end up living a lot of life for either for achievement for the sake of achievement or just for other people, right? And
Mm,
they stop prioritizing themselves and putting themselves, as you said, bringing themselves up as a factor and including themselves in that growth journey. It's, growth for the sake of the business or for the sake of someone else, and they lose sight of growing for the sake of growing for themselves, for them to put themselves first as a human being, and they tend to just get busy being busy, right? And their
yeah,
schedule gets so full, and it's like, well, there's no time for me because I'm busy doing all these things for, all these have tos as opposed to get tos, right?
exactly.
Yeah.
That's it. And people get caught up in that because they think that's what's going to bring them fulfillment. And so they sort of start to lose themselves when that's all they're really trying to find in the end.
A lot of people worry about the idea of feeling fulfilled with what they've already got because they have this expectation that they should want more. And then, especially
Mm,
from a material perspective, like I should want a bigger house and to earn more money and to have a better body and all of these other things. But if what you actually want is just that self-acceptance and that self-love, then all of those things become irrelevant. And
mm,
it's almost scary. It's like, oh, but then if I have that self-love already, I'm not going to want to achieve anymore. I'm not going to want to, strive and try and, level up in all these different areas because I don't need to because I'm already good as I am. And they kind of worry about, well, if I'm not achieving, then what am I doing?
yeah, so true.
Yeah.
That's it.
I was going to say, do you find you get a lot of high achievers who sort of look into this kind of stuff as well?
Yeah, definitely. Lots of ambitious individuals that are just really go-getters. They're just really wanting to go out there and tick all these things off their bucket list or on their goals list. And yeah, they often get sort of sucked into that process of always wanting more rather than just taking a pause for the moment. And it comes down to gratitude as well, you know. You can
Mm.
want heaps of things, but if you're not appreciating where you are right now, then how are you going to live life, actually? Yeah.
Exactly. If you're not already watering the garden that you've got, what makes you think planting more trees and more, oh, but I'm going to plant this better tree and therefore I'm going to water it more. Well, so you're not already watering and appreciating the things that you've already done. What makes you think you're going to
Mm,
appreciate it when you get there to this next level, right? Like things don't change necessarily as you level up and as you sort of get more things. They just sort of reveal more of who you already are. So if you're
mm,
not making the effort to, it's like the way that you manage $1,000, a month is the same way that you'll manage $10,000 a month is the same way that you'd manage $100,000 a month, which is the reason
mm.
why you're not at that point because you're managing the $1,000 a month in the way that you currently are, which means that it's never going to grow. So I think they they do more expecting more, but
Mm,
by doing more, they end up losing more because they're not prioritizing that. So they're draining more of that tank that could be used for sort of that nurturing of self.
yeah, exactly.
Beautiful. Well, what would you say is some of your favorite questions or some of the core sort of key themes or concepts that you'll tend to drill down on when you're working with a client? Some of the sort of consistent themes that you've seen pop up?
I guess like consistent questions that I always ask my clients is that clarity around clarity. Like, what do you truly desire? If you could put every single what if, why not, but this, that, or worry aside, What is it that you truly want? If money wasn't an issue, neither was time, and really digging down on what that compelling vision looks like and what that true desire, what
Mm,
that picture is. So that's really empowering because then they sort of drop their guard down and they then really tell you out of without any limits. You do sort of get that, oh, but after they say all that, they're sort of like, oh, but this. And that's when you realize, okay, cool. If that wasn't there, what does it look like? So that's a really empowering question, I guess. I use. And on top of that, I also like to sort of quick fire my questions. Don't give them a couple of seconds to think about it. Just like really whatever's the first thing that comes onto your mind, because that's usually then the unconscious mind speaking. Where you're sort of put on the spot and you're like, oh, I got no time to think of this perfect answer. I just got to say whatever the first thought is in my head.
mm.
And when they say it, often after we reflect on those questions and they're a bit shocked and they're like, I wouldn't change my answer, but I'm a bit shocked that came out of my mouth. So
Yeah.
yeah.
100%, right? Especially for those clients that are so busy, like they have to take that time to then be like, oh, well, we know ultimately what's within us and we know what we want, right? We just don't consciously know, but there is a little desire. We just need to give it room to breathe. And for a lot of those people, if it immediately comes up, they have to answer quickly. They've got no time to think about, oh, well, what would my mom or my dad want, or what would give me the most, the greatest level of career success, and all of those things. As you say, they'll go to the wayside because they'll unconsciously answer. But I love what you said around getting clear on that compelling vision, because a lot of people without this level of self-love, they will not, as you said, they will write it off. They'll say, no, it's not possible for me, so I'm not going to even bother dreaming about it. I could never make that work, so I'm not worthy of that success, whatever it might be. And then they just focus on something that's more achievable or something that's more within their ballpark, and they give you the sort of the BS answer. But getting clear, as you said, on forget about the money, forget about the time, forget about all of the ifs and buts and maybes and all of that other theoretical stuff. Just tell me what you actually want. Right. And even if that's not something that's going to be achievable in the next 3 to 5 years, it's at least you're clear on it and you can at least work towards it, which is ultimately what makes people happy, is growing towards the thing that they want.
Yeah, definitely. Couldn't have said it better.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you said it in your own way, which is just as good. So, yeah, well, I guess out of the NLP tools as well, what do you find works well? Obviously, there's a few that sort of come to mind, but what do you find works well with your clients in that regard?
I guess most of my clients using the NLP tools of like the emotional release technique. That's really a biggie because there's a lot of emotions often held by my clients that stem from childhood or that stem from specific events that they've gone through. So really just releasing those emotions and knowing that they can just peel that onion, layer by layer and just be the authentic self throughout the process. I think that's a really powerful, powerful NLP tool, as well as the parts integration. I think a lot of my clients have parts of themselves which are in conflict with one another, like they want to achieve something, but another part of them often holds them back. So really bringing that to light and actually helping them become aware that this is something that is holding them back, and in conjunction with trying to reach their goal, and really just that awareness again, going back to that awareness, bringing that awareness and helping them work through that to be able to reach that mindset where they're comfortable with, I guess, being themselves. That's the best bit, and not feeling like they have to hold back anything to reach any of their goals, whether that be in their career, their finances, with their health, even with their bodies, or achieving a specific goal. Yeah, it all comes down to part of them wanting to do that, but another part holding them back because of those stories they keep telling themselves.
Yeah, or even sometimes part of them wanting to achieve something, but part of them not really feeling like that's the right thing for them, and they're doing it for someone else, right? And there's that part of me is almost wanting to cave to societal pressure and expectation of what I should achieve and what I should want, and then part of me is, just doesn't feel like it's the thing that I actually want, which ends up becoming a very simple process at the end of the day once they have that, as you said, that awareness of, hang on, this isn't really what I want. These aren't really my goals. What is it that I really want? But yeah, sometimes, as you said, they have to get out of their own way first.
Yeah, definitely.
Beautiful. So having sort of just got started in this journey, and how long would you say you've been coaching for?
Yeah, so I started last year, December. So November, December around then. I've been coaching ever since I pretty much started, like just trying to feel out and practice and yeah, just guiding people and not trying so hard to not tell them what to do. That's been, I guess, the biggest mission because you can always give people answers, but at the end of the day, that might not be the answer for them. So
Yeah.
going through that coaching journey, I've been doing it for a year, roughly up to now 7 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you say is one of the biggest tips you could give to a new coach or a coach who's just sort of getting started or they're looking to get into the industry? What's something that you would give to them as a bit of advice or some recommendations?
Yeah, I guess like the best thing you can do is honestly work on yourself and having that ambition to get into coaching, whether it's for yourself or for transforming other people's lives, is such a beautiful space to be in because it honestly opens up layers of yourself that you probably didn't realize that you needed to work on. And there's always all these different levels in your life where it just sort of brings out, and coaching brings out the best in you. You know, working in this amazing community with these amazing people has really helped me grow quicker than I thought. You know, I actually myself as well getting into the coaching industry, I had my own little thoughts about, well, you know, I have to be perfect. I have to be amazing as a coach. But hey, look, everybody's learning.
Mm.
And the more that you continue to stick it out, and if this is something that anybody's, you know, wanting to get involved in, if that's what your heart's telling you to do, 100% go for it because you never know what fulfillment you're going to get from just hearing somebody tell you, wow, that was powerful. You know, you really helped me push the needle forward, or you really helped me bring clarity to what I needed to bring clarity to. And that's the fulfillment that I get. And that's what keeps me going and wants, I guess, me to continue with this journey. Yeah. So I'm grateful I started.
Yeah, oh, glad to hear that. We're grateful you started too. It's such a big factor for a lot of coaches who are just getting started. That whole idea of I have to be perfect, I have to have all the answers already in order to be a coach, right? And that's often what holds a lot of those new coaches back is the idea of having to have all the answers, having to be perfect, having to not be able to show, you know, quote unquote weakness or uncertainty in front of a client. And I guess the certainty you need to have is more so just the certainty in yourself that you will do what you can to work with a client in order to help them get the result, not necessarily certainty of having every single answer and having it be the one undeniable answer. A lot of people could benefit from forgetting a lot of what they already know. And I was reading this on through a few different platforms lately, was the power of being the most forgetful person that you can be in order to be the smartest person or the most intelligent person that you can be. Because if you forget everything that you know, and you every single time you approach a problem, you rebuild from the ground up your reasoning, you rebuild your patterns of thinking from the ground up every time you approach a problem, then that allows you to not sort of set in stone any bad habits or anything that, you know, potentially changes over time, right? You might be preaching the same thing for 5-10 years, but then you're like, hang on, if I really reevaluate this, that's not really the most effective or efficient way for me to do this. So if you try to be as forgetful as possible and approach every new situation like a student and build it from the ground up and make sure that, you know, your old ways of thinking still hold up. Yeah, I'm not saying that, you know, you should approach every coaching conversation like it's your very first one, but, you know, make sure you don't carry those hidden assumptions with you with every single coaching client that you work with. Don't carry in those little baggages of, oh, this client sounds like this, so they must be dealing with this. Yes, shortcuts in terms of similar clients can be very effective, but they're not always the right way to sort of to start the conversation.
Yeah, 100% agree with you on that. And it got me thinking it also, you know, if you did do that and if you were bringing on what you've learned from other clients, you're also already forming the way that the client coaching session will go. So if you come in completely open-minded, as you said, not bringing in, obviously, yeah, you might be reminded of, you know, different clients experiencing the same pattern. If you come in open-minded, you never know the way that coaching session will lead to. And I actually love what you said about, you know, not having to be perfect, because that's all what we all think. You know, we all want to be these perfect people, or, you know, in order to be transforming other people's lives, we get caught up in that perfectionist, behavior. But you know what? Like continuing on to build from the ground up, not knowing anything and being open about it too. Obviously, being confident in yourself and just learning as you go. That's really helped me in my coaching journey. And I think it's just, working on yourself, working on that confidence to then portray that throughout your coaching.
100%. Couldn't have said it better myself. I think that's a really good place to kind of to leave that conversation. Hopefully for new coaches, they get a bit of inspiration and a bit of a bit of a kick up from that. And if you are someone who's struggling maybe a little bit with that self-worth and that self-love, feel free to reach out to Liliana. So what are your socials? Where can they find you? Fill us in. What's all the Instagram, the Facebook? What are the details?
Yeah, so we've got Facebook page. It's called Life with Lily. So life coaching with Lily, but it's just Life with Lily. And Instagram, you can find me at Liliana.Emilova, which is my first and last name. My business website is also lifewithlily.com. So yeah, find me. I'd love to chat. I'd love to get to know you guys. And yeah, I'd love to empower you as well if there's anybody that's feeling like they're a little bit of their self-worth or their self-love is sort of shaken. Reach out to the community. Myself or anybody in the community will be more than happy to continue to empower you, because whether or not you think you can become the best coach possible, you are right, 100%.
Beautiful. Perfect. We'll have all those links in the description or the show notes as well for anybody who needs that. Thank you all again for watching and for listening. If you're on YouTube, feel free to leave a comment for Liliana or for myself if you want to. If you have any other coaches that you'd love us to have a chat with, feel free to drop them below as well. If you're listening on YouTube or on the podcast app, feel free to give us a 5-star review. And until we see you all next time, be bold, have fun, make an impact, and we'll see you all on the wild side. Take care.